Check, check. BC in the unit coming at you. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. BC in the unit coming at you. Yeah. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Oh, man. Come on, NXT. I just got that out the dome piece a few months ago, and here we are again with the damn Joe Hendry. If you don't know, Tuesday Joe Hendry up on NXT television. Beautifully done. Talking that. Hold on. Your playback sounds good. Let me switch over to BC's playback, please. So I can hear myself in real time with no delay. There you go. Check, check. BC, do you got yourself? I got you. All right, so Joe Hendry shows up to NXT. Part of TNA, obviously, in that whole forbidden portal. Not door, the portal, as Jordan Grace calls it. And he talks a lot of smack beforehand. I mean, there's 24 other dudes in that ring, or 23 at the time. Maybe Ethan came after him. The point is, there's 24 other dudes. He's talking smack to all of them. Before, right, that's like going into the bar, and before you even have a drink, you look at everybody in the bar room, you talk mad shit to everybody. You're probably going out one of those windows, right? One of those windows or the door you're going out of. He talked crap to everybody, then got in the ring. Everybody chucked him right out. So a lot of people are like, oh man, that's not how you debut the dude, getting thrown out like he's Bushwhacker. Who was it, Luke? Or was it Butch? 1991 Royal Rumble, I think it was. Butch or Luke came right in, and he went right out by the earthquake. They tried to redo it with Santina Marella. Santino. Or maybe it was his sister, Santina Marella. But they tried to recreate it in the Royal Rumble many years later. But the point is, he came in, and he pretty much went out after Ethan Page was taken out. And a side story. But I thought it was beautifully done. He talks all that crap, and then everybody's going for him. So if anything, you could set so much. If they want to do something with Joe Hendry going forward, you could set up so much with that appearance. I believe in Joe Hendry. When it comes to theme musics, that just gets stuck in your dome piece. That's one of them. Just wanted to mention that. I don't know why that was at the top of my top of my dome piece starting this live stream. Anyway, my unit, salute for the next half an hour at least. I will be with you guys with this live stream. It's a pop-up live stream, we call them. We don't go on a set schedule. These are pop-up live. That's why I always say stay or become subscribed and notified, because that's your best chance at knowing when we got these pop-up live streams going on. I don't do set schedules. I can't always do a pre-recorded, fully edited upload for you guys. So when I don't have that time, I do these pop-up live streams. So for the individuals that will be able to catch it live, salute. I got a fresh Mountain Blackberry, clearly Canadian for you guys. And for my future unit, who's going to watch this over the course of the next 24 hours, but not live, salute to you guys as well. So sorry you can't catch it live, but thanks for still showing that support. And even if you're not catching this live, I promise we're going to talk about a lot of great stuff, man. Cody Rhodes wanting John Cena, former WWE superstar calling Triple H a genius. Are we going a little too far with genius? Are we tossing the word around genius a little too lightly? We're going to talk about Shane McMahon possibly going to AEW. It's not actually as outrageous as you might think. WWE Hall of Famer is really laying into AEW. He usually does, but now, I mean, he's trashing the roster pretty hardcore. We're going to talk about that as well. Goldberg has a direct message to Bret Hart. He's just had enough of Bret Hart complaining, but it's just one of those situations where it never should have been. I'll describe exactly what we're talking about. Goldberg and Bret Hart. And whatever else comes to mind. Obviously, I see some super chats coming in. I'm going to make sure, no matter how long this goes. If it's a half an hour or a full hour, I'm going to make sure that I give everybody a shout out for the super chats. I promise you that much. That is the utmost appreciation and respect right back to you guys. So I appreciate that. For instance, I think I see Dave Mealy with that 5-spot coffee. Dave, I'm going to get to you in a second, man. I assure you. I just want to make sure that I go over everything that I want to talk about in the allotted time that I have. Smash the up, whether you're live or future. I know most of you guys are going to be watching this over the next 24 hours because you were not able to catch it live. You still got to smash the up. It helps the algorithm, but it also lets BC know, even if you didn't hit the gym yet, even if you haven't gone to the gym in days, smashing that up allows BC to know you're fully amplified. Get them up. Whatever you're working with, get them up. Get them, boy. So I got to know you guys are fully amplified. Smash that. That goes for the future unit as well. All right. Let's talk right from the jump. Let me crack this for you guys. This is for everybody that's going to be catching this live stream, live or future unit. Let me crack this clearly Canadian mountain blackberry flavor. That's one of my faves, obviously. Let me crack this, and then we're going to get right into Cody Rhodes wanting John Cena. While that may be awesome on one hand, on the other hand, it creates quite the conflict. I'll let you guys hear this sizzle. Ready for this? Yeah, you heard that. Salute, unit. So Cody Rhodes, backstage, this is the report we're getting. Cody Rhodes is really pushing for a John Cena story/feud. I don't believe anybody would be heel, so I'm loosely using feud. Because Cody is not turning heel for John Cena, and John Cena is not coming back to turn heel in his last run. It's not going to happen. And John Cena recently, yet again, for the 8 billionth time in the last 6 months, has said the words, his time in WWE and pro wrestling, the sun is setting, right? He literally just told People magazine that over the last 24 hours. He knows he's only got a certain amount of time left in pro wrestling. And Cody Rhodes has been pushing for John. He told John Cena straight up. He has said this many times. Recently, one of his last interviews Cody did, he actually reiterated. He told John Cena personally that, let me get the quote. I'll get an exact quote. I told John if he does one more, consider it, please. Consider it. If he does one more, consider it. He told John Cena this on several occasions. So, and John Cena takes that to heart, right? John Cena has the utmost respect for Cody Rhodes. Well, now we're hearing that Cody Rhodes, in his title reign, he wants a program with John Cena. On one hand, you say this is the redemption over 10 years in the making. Remember when Cody Rhodes he wasn't dashing, I don't believe, but he was so young in the game, and John Cena was the guy, and John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes. But it wasn't this version of Cody Rhodes. Much different John Cena, much different Cody Rhodes. Now, with the American Nightmare, now with the dude with the title, now with the dude at the top of the company, and you have Jonathan Cena, whose time might be coming to an end in pro wrestling. That is much more of a dream match, and I don't want to use those words so loosely or lightly because we put that term on everything. Tony Khan likes to call anything a dream match, for instance, that involves two really good wrestlers. Dream match to me has much more, though. It's about the marketing. It's about the must-see aspect. It's about more than just the moves, right? It's about the program. It's about the promos. It's about all of it that goes into it. That's what makes it a dream match, and its totality and culmination. But Cody Rhodes and John Cena could be a dream match to many. I mean, it has all the substance in the world. Over 10 years later, Cody Rhodes would ultimately, you would have to think, would get the best of John Cena. I can't stand John Cena just jobbing out to everybody lately, but Cody Rhodes is just not any jabroni. But John Cena has been doing the job for everybody. John Cena has come back and put over Austin Theory, and until this day, it hasn't worked for Austin Theory. He put over Solo Sikoa, and Paul Levesque McMahon put Solo on a 41-match losing streak immediately after John Cena did the ultimate job to Solo. I still don't know what Triple H was thinking. To this day, John Cena does that for Solo, And Triple H's response is 41 straight losses. But when Roman takes time off, you can lead the bootleg bloodline. That can't be the best for Solo. It's clear that Solo is nowhere near main event level right now. He still has so much more room for improvement. Maybe that's what HHH saw. But you should have saw that before John Cena did the ultimate deed. But my point is, everything you're seeing with John Cena is just coming back to put everybody over. No. There's a time for that. There's a time for passing torches. There's a time for putting the youngsters over. And there's a time to be John motherfucking Cena. You're John Cena, dude. We're not asking you to take out a golden shovel. We're asking you to look the part, because Cody Rhodes said, if you have one more in you, consider it. That's what he told John Cena. That's what he told John Cena. John Cena, I believe, has more than one in him. He says the sun is setting. He says it's coming to an end, his pro wrestling career. But he's got more than one in him, I believe. I believe Cody will be one of the matches. If they truly want to make this work, it will work. But I think John Cena has another couple, 2-3 as well. I think he's got a couple good years left of a match, or 2 maybe even in a calendar year. But I think he's got a few matches, not just one. And he can't come back and just put everybody over. But if Cody Rhodes goes over, yeah, that's more than believable at this stage. It's the ultimate redemption story for 2013 when John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes, a young buck, no pun intended, but a young buck trying to see his way through and navigate his way through the corridors of WWE. Cody Rhodes is pushing for this now more than ever, is what we're hearing backstage. My question is, will that affect The Rock and Cody Rhodes? A match like John Cena and Cody, you would think that would be perfect at, a WrestleMania, right? Can't do it at SummerSlam. There's not enough time. John Cena he actually has 3 commitments right now. He's doing a movie, I think it's like a guest appearance on a TV show, and then he's got a bunch of commercial projects. It's all literally overlapping one another through the summer. That's what we're hearing anyway. So SummerSlam's out of the game. You're not going to go to Survivor Series with Cody Rhodes and Cena. Stop it. You could have an ultimate setup to WrestleMania and have John Cena and Cody be the pedestal to that. Rumble is a possibility. But we all know that Rock and Cody is the match at Mania. That's the match that The Rock is kind of hinting toward. That's where everybody, or The Rock, left off when he handed that to Cody, took off. So John Cena and Cody doesn't really have a story other than 2013 and their career trajectories and the fact that a lot of people would love to see that match. You have to believe Rock and Cody just supersedes it. So where do you fit in John Cena and Cody Rhodes? I totally respect Cody for pushing this match, by the way. We're hearing that he was the one that really pushed for both matches with AJ Styles, and we're hearing that Cody really wants to do work with, well, not hearing, he told John Cena as well. But backstage now we're hearing he really wants to work a program, whether that's one match or maybe they do a deciding rubber match, 3. He wants to do a program with Cena. I respect that. But you have to place these now, right? You could place AJ Styles over the last 2 months. Cody wasn't going to do anything anyway. But as you get closer toward the start of the new year, you're going to be talking about Rock and Cody again. I just don't know where you fit it in, guys. You're not putting this on a Raw. You're not putting it at a pay-per-view called Bad Blood or In Your House or Vengeance. You're not going to put it at Survivor Series. You're not going to do that. It's John Cena, Cody Rhodes. Has to be massive. So, I mean, Cody Rhodes, Cena does 1 or 2 matches tops a year. Let's just say that over the course of the next 2 years. Then you could be talking potentially 42. At 42, Cena takes on a Cody that maybe doesn't even have a title. And then that brings up a whole debate. Should John Cena, before he retires, get Ric Flair's 16-time record? Enough of this tying business. Should he get the record? Ric Flair, you got to respect everything this dude did in this industry. So many say he is the best wrestler of all time. Mount Rushmore, he's in the middle of it. That's what a lot of people say. I could totally see it. But if John Cena got the record before he retired, and I've never been a big John Cena fan, by the way, but if you think I'm going to rant and rave about that happening, it's not going to happen. In so many ways, I could almost argue the fact that it would need to happen. But that's another question. Chat, John Cena, if you have the magic booking pen, John Cena is about to exit pro wrestling for good. Do you have him win one last title and go out on that horse with the record of most championships? Yes or no, chat? You tell BC. And by the way, Diamante Ty Drew on that, I got to get channel membership. Sometimes they don't stick afterwards. 18 months membership, gold card status. 18 months later and still rocking with the AMP unit. Diamante Ty Drew. Appreciate you, bro. And David 77, 12-month full year membership. Just 12 question mark. Just 12. Dude, I can't believe we've had 18 months of membership. Seems like yesterday I just opened up channel memberships. So David 77, a full year though, bro. Here's to another year plus. You'd be catching up to Diamante Ty Drew with 18. Eric, by the way, Eric Leno, gold team, go. Eric Leno, 18 months strong, had to duck out for a minute, but came right back with that gold card and was able to maintain the 18-month status, Eric Leno. I'm glad they let you do that, bro. Apparently you caught it in the right window. Very good. Eric Leno, so good to see you with that gold card back after your name, man. A lot of you guys are saying yes, man. There is a few no's. There's a few no's, but most I'm seeing yes. You give John Cena the championship before he exit, and he has the reign. I believe Ric Flair has been on record saying that he doesn't mind it. He would not. Yeah, he wouldn't be against the idea of John Cena. So Ric Flair seems to be okay. But you know what? It might be a mute point because you know who's going to beat it at this point? Yeah, one name, guys. Guess who's going to beat Ric Flair's record at this point? It's going to be Charlie Flair. At this rate, isn't she already up to like 14? What is she up? If you take away the NXT titles, I think she's already at like 14. Somebody give me a real number. Is JR9 up in here? JR9, what up, bro? Somebody tell me, take away the NXT titles because they might not count that. Just give me her WWE tally because she's only been here for 8 or 9 years, maybe. I know Naomi's been here a year or two longer, bare minimum. Naomi's been there longer, but Naomi only has 2 title reigns. That's what pisses me off, by the way. Naomi has the same amount of athleticism, if not even more. Naomi has the look, the selling aspect, right? They should have done something huge with the Glow Championships. Instead, she got punished for that. When she had the title, she brought the Glow title to a house show. She got punished. That should have been marketed to fucking kids or adults would pick that up. Glow in the Dark Championships, bro, or just Glow Championships. That would have made so much money. They didn't want to put the machine behind Naomi. But here you got the fucking blonde bombshell with the name Flair, and she's going to have 14 to Naomi's 2. She's going to get all the marketing. She's going to have all the t-shirts. Come on, bro. You don't see a problem with that? That's a massive issue. 14, you guys are 14 title reigns. Her father, his whole career had 16. You don't see a problem with that? Do you see what they're trying to do? They're just trying to get her to the record in the fastest amount of time. 14 title reigns in about 8 or 9 years? Tops? When did she debut on the main roster? I'm putting you guys to work today, man. There's a lot of conversation. I only have a small allotted time today, so I got to make sure that our facts are in order, ducks are in a row. Does anybody know when she debuted? Diamante. That's nice, man. 6 Raw championships, 7 Smackdown, and she held the Divas as well, making her a 14-time champion. What was her debut, man? 2015, was it? So it is, yeah. I said 8 or 9 years, didn't I? And she really started to get the booking in about 2016, right? So it's about 8 to 9 years. It's 2024, beginning of 2024. So 8 or 9 years. And what was Naomi's debut? She was there longer, correct? Can somebody get me Naomi's debut? WWE debut. Even with the Funkasaurus, that's okay. If you got the Funkasaurus remember she was dancing with Who was the other lady? Cam? Was it Cam? And they were doing the Funkasaurus routine with Tyrus. 2010? No way, bro. She was there 5 years more than Charlotte Flair? Naomi's been there for nearly 15 years and they gave her 2 titles? She's phenomenal. Naomi is phenomenal. Yeah, Cam. I remember Cameron. They were doing the Funkasaurus gimmick. Naomi was in NXT, says JR9, with AJ, Lee, and Caitlyn. Yup. The first class before you even got to the Sashas and the Charlies and the Beckys and the Baileys. 15 years, and Naomi still goes out there and rocks it, man. She's still, I feel, one of the best pro wrestlers female-wise there is. She, with her style, 15 years later, and you gave her 2 titles and you punished her because she had an awesome idea to have the Glow titles, but you had a championship that spun. Does anybody remember the spinning championship? I think that was Jonathan Cena's. Anybody remember the Rattlesnake Championship or the Brahma Bull Championship? There's been some ludicrous titles over the years, and you couldn't give Naomi because you didn't want her to be a marketing campaign. You didn't want to get behind Naomi because you may have to book her properly. All right, we got to move on because when I talk about Naomi, it's just that is one of the glaring issues in WWE. You have someone like Naomi, you put her right up against Charlie Flair, and the company just wants to. It's one thing if you want to back Charlie, that's fine. She's a Flair, she's good for the most part, right? And Mike skills, most everybody kind of fails on the mic, but good. Got the Flair name, has a look. I get it. You want to book Flair, that's cool, but can't you book Naomi? If not just as good, at least good? That's my problem. They put 2 like that together and they go, you are getting the rocket to the moon. Can you have another triple layered moose cake at catering? We'll call you if we can fit you in the show. And that's been Naomi for 15 years. 2 title reigns. Correct me if I'm wrong. One of them was only because it was fucking Black History Month. And the other one was because it was Orlando, right? And that was like her home city. If there's a minor correction there, go ahead and correct me in the chat. But that's what it was. Thank goodness for Black History Month. I don't know if Naomi would have gotten that title. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. Naomi is too damn good for this company, I will say. Too good for this company. And sometimes when you're really, really good for this company, they don't want to hear it. You can make claims about Asuka too. Kind of like the same situation, which, isn't it ironic? Every time Asuka was about to get massive momentum, WWE, I'm not even blaming Ashley Flair. I'm not even blaming Charlotte. WWE made sure that Charlie was the one to absolutely take the rug out from underneath the feet of Asuka. Don't forget, it was Charlie who they had when the very beginning, that long winning streak by Asuka. And at WrestleMania, they had Charlie Flair for no reason. Asuka won the Rumble. This was her time this is your time to make a new star. A new star, man. Asuka has a winning streak dating back to NXT. She just won the Rumble. You can try to make a star. And from the very beginning, no. They said, nope, we are going to have you lose against Charlie, and maybe down the road the fans will give you another chance. Well, maybe. But WWE never did. You only get one chance at that first impression, man. I don't know how we went so far in the left field with a hockey stick. What were we even talking about? Oh, yeah. Cody Rhodes wanting John Cena. How do you fit that in? You got to believe it would be non-title after the whole thing with The Rock next year. So you got to look 2 years down the road. Maybe that's John Cena's last match. Maybe it is against Cody. Some people want to see Cena and Randy Orton. Winner gets the championship in the record for Ric Flair. And that's John's last match, maybe. Maybe he forfeits it if he wins the title the next day on Raw, something like that. There's so many ways you can go, but if Cody gets his way and he gets this match, I'm here for it. I just don't know where you put it in. And if John Cena ends up winning a title down the line, I don't think it should be for Cody. The whole multi-year reign by Roman Reigns, Cody finally wins it in his second attempt over 2 years, just to give it to John Cena, who is more than part-time. He's no time. I don't feel right about Cena getting Cody's title per se. That's why I feel that's either got to be non-title or he just has to straight up lose. But I'm not against John Cena becoming the record holder. I just think Charlie Flair is going to get it before anybody. Because the only person that loves Charlie Flair more than Vincent Kennedy McMahon is Paul Levesque McMahon. Loves that gal. And don't be shocked if it's his own daughter that ends up taking the title. And then many fans will still say, right? Because they'll still say, hey, the dudes still have to get the record, right? That was a lady did it. But who's going to be the dude to get Ric Flair? So they'll probably make a thing like that. But something just doesn't sit well for Charlie Flair being the one to beat Ric Flair's record when she's only been there 8.5 years. Stop. It's clear. I mean, she wins a title a couple months later. If even she gives it up. She wins it again. She gives it right up. She comes back after months off, wins it immediately on the night she returns, gives it up a month or two later, takes off for another 3 months, comes back, wins it. It's ridiculous how redundant and how negligent the booking is. Thank you for 100 on the ups, guys. You know, we're just spitting truth and gospel and getting amplified, which is what we do. I love being live with you guys to be able to do these pop-up live streams. So I just appreciate that you guys got those notifications on. Because I know most of you guys are catching this over the next 24 hours, but it's always good to have a live crew in here as well. So I appreciate the 100 on the ups. Let's take that to 200. That is the conversation on Cody and Cena. I was going to try to make this live stream a half an hour. We spent a half an hour on the first topic. Such as, but I won't make you guys wait for the next big topic. We'll get right into Shane McMahon right now. So, hey, BC, how about you take the cap off first, huh? Or you can try to drink it with the cap on. You can try that, BC. Let's see how that works. Back in the day, I had the perfect beer tooth, right? Everybody would give me their beers, right? We'd be drinking wherever we'd be drinking, you know, the ones that are not twisty caps. So I would just they'd give it to me, and I had the beer tooth. I would just spit it out here. Boom, spit it out here. I should have charged everybody. So Shane O'Mac to AEW. You guys see the thumbnail, the headline. That's not as outrageous as you may think, and BC's not even making that claim, by the way. There was reports a while back that Shane McMahon was interested, but we had no real confirmation that he was talking to anybody in AEW. Just the report itself, though, was it was telling, right? That he is much more on the outs with family than we originally thought. And then Conrad Thompson recently, he was talking with Jim Ross, and Jim Ross just made the statement, same thing BC just said, Shane McMahon to AEW is not as ludicrous or outrageous as you may think. So Jim Ross knows, like, if you only knew, it's not as wild as you may assume. So Conrad responded, and I quote, Conrad told Jim Ross, I know for a fact Shane, this is a quote, guys, hold on. I know for a fact Shane has reached out to several AEW talents to at least hypothetically come to AEW. End quote. Now, the hypothetically, obviously, because Shane, that's called a feeler, right? Just like the Young Bucks did with WWE and so many other people. That's when you start just feeling out how they're perceiving the situation. You know, would you even want me? What would be kind of what I would be making? What's the deal over there? Right? That's the feel out process. So when they say hypothetically, that's what this person who told Conrad, that's what these talents told him. Shane is just, you know, if I was to go over there, I'm not saying I am right now, but what's the landscape? Give me the 411. What's the deal? You know what I mean? What can I expect? He said several AEW talents told him this. And we know he's been on the outs with especially his father, Vincent Kennedy. Now, after all of this stuff that came out with Vincent Kennedy, who knows where that relationship sits? We know that Paul Levesque McMahon is still very close to Vincent Kennedy, as is Stephanie. We also know that Stephanie is still a member of the roster on WWE. Guys, that's a real thing. That's actually that's a legal page. Like if you type in WWE's roster, that's a legal page. Public page is a legal page. You cannot promote somebody in a company like WWE if they don't actually work for you or they're not under an actual contract. That's public information for the board of directors. They're obviously a publicly traded company. Stephanie McMahon is a member of the roster. You can check it out. She's getting a talent paycheck. So just because you don't see Stephanie McMahon, don't think for 1 second she's not pulling in major money. She is on a massive talent contract. Shane McMahon's not. So that just tells you, right? I say that because that's so telling. Shane McMahon has no affiliation at all with World Wrestling Entertainment. Stephanie is on a talent contract. Paul Levesque McMahon is on one of the biggest talent contracts. If you actually look up Paul Levesque McMahon, he's on both Raw and SmackDown's roster. And we do believe that is a massive incentive bonus on top of his other duties and original talent contract. So Shane McMahon is left out of all of that. And again, I'm just bringing all of that up to catch you up to speed on if Shane could even go somewhere else. BC, is he a part of any type of WWE deal? Literally none. I've done my research for you. I put the ducks in a row. I got the details in check. Shane McMahon is not under... Shane McMahon's under no WWE contract. We know he wanted one last match bare minimum. His kids are getting old. They love seeing him in the ring. That's why he tried to have that match with, who was it, Miz? 2 years ago at Mania, and unfortunately snapped his leg. Snoop Dogg! Snoop Dogg came through, bro. Snoop Dogg saved the entire segment. Dude looked like he's been in this industry for decades. He kind of has been. But Snoop Dogg saved that. But that was supposed to be big for Shane McMahon. And Shane McMahon vowed, I told you guys, this wasn't just a report. This was like he was telling people, that is not the last you're going to see of him in the ring. So if it is so strained that he refuses to step in a WWE ring, but he has promised that is not the way that his career is ending, and Conrad is telling you that many talents said he has already reached out to AEW, it's not that wild to think that this dude won't show up and have his last match and maybe stick it to some people that he wants to stick it to. Because his pops is pretty much out of the game. Pops is about a stone's throw away from having nothing to do with WWE. I mean, selling all of his shares. They're already up. They're already up to be sold, just nobody has bought them yet. So Shane is only hanging on to his sister and his brother-in-law's coattails, and he probably doesn't want to do that. I'm not saying he wants to go and work for Tony and stick it to his father, but if that's what just happens, that's part of the game. Vince taught Shane that. If Shane can collect a massive payday, now the question is, what part of AEW's audience would care to see Shane McMahon in AEW? Because Shane is, I've always been a Shane O'Mac supporter. You guys know that. He catches so much grief and heat. He's a part-timer taking up spots. Get out of the way. Just stop. Just retire. Nobody wants to see you. I've always wanted to see Shane. Shane is in there. It's so believable because he is so realistic. And Shane, anything can happen with Shane McMahon. He always just wants to put on the best of shows. I've said this a million times, and I stand by these words. It might be a hot take, but if it's a hot take, it's the hottest take around. I'd rather watch Shane O'Mac than 95% of most rosters on the planet today in pro wrestling. I'll watch Shane O'Mac matches. That's how believable they are, how much more fun they are, how they don't put me to sleep. I'll go back and watch all of Shane's WrestleMania matches. I'll go back and watch Shane versus Kurt Angle. Do you guys remember that? What was the stipulation? Was that Falls Count Anywhere or No Holds Bar? What was that, guys? Kurt Angle, Shane O'Mac. Somebody tell me what that match was. But if you want to see just a wild, fun, intriguing, captivating contest, you go back and watch Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon. If you want one of just an awesome feud, storyline-wise, and then the match, AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. And I could keep going down the line. Shane has been in there with some of the best, Kevin Owens and so many others, and he has rocked it out. He catches unnecessary grief. I'm sure he would go to AEW and absolutely rock that place to its core. Every arena he shows up to. Oh, it was just a straight up street fight, Dave and JR9. Okay, so a street fight, Kurt Angle and there was a spot in this match, and guys, correct me if I'm getting it a little bit backwards, but I believe it was Kurt Angle that was belly to belly suplexing Shane through the glass at the entranceway, but the glass wouldn't break. Shane got dropped on his head, probably concussed the first time. He got up, said, "We're doing it again." Fell again, wouldn't break. Third time, I think it finally broke through. Shane McMahon took one of the biggest ass whoopings I've ever seen in pro wrestling, took it like a man, turned right around like Tommy Dreamer to the Sandman, and said, "Please, sir, may I have another?" That was wild. This glass would just not break. It wouldn't break, and Shane McMahon remained stubborn and defiant. Sounds like his old man, right? Anyway, my point is, a lot of people would bicker and complain and bitch. "Oh, no, we don't want Shane in AEW. This is not what we are. It's an alternative. We don't want all these old..." You know what? I say, then go pick up a bad habit for 20 minutes on the pay-per-view, right? Go play in traffic real quick. Throw yourself into a brick wall. Start chain smoking even if you don't smoke. Do something. But don't deprive others for 20 minutes bare minimum, and probably wouldn't even go 20 minutes, 15, of something pretty damn awesome. Like literally awesome. Because I'm pretty sure you'll have all the other glorified gymnastics, the flips and you'll get it all, man. But you can't see a Shane McMahon contest. So that's another conversation. You know, would fans just absolutely be outraged that he's coming to AEW to have a match or two? Because I doubt very much it would be more than that. Dude just he doesn't want his career to end the way that it did, and he's not totally tied with WWE. It sounds like there's a lot of just tension there. So he's feeling it out with AEW, and that's literally from Conrad, who's got a lot of people within that locker room. Yeah, who said that? Anise, his head bounced off the couple of times, man. That whole match's dome piece was bouncing off the concrete. Speaking of AEW, man, Bischoff, I usually never talk Bischoff because he's kind of made a shtick. His gig now is just to many people's actually, is just to diss AEW. There's probably people that just do that with WWE. It's like a shtick. It gets old, right? It's like, if you're not just going to be fair about everything and just, of course they need to fix a lot, right? BC rips AEW a lot because just like I do with WWE, a lot needs to be fixed. But you got to give praise where it is too. And that's where I don't usually put a lot of stock in people like Bischoff, because it's clear it's just a shtick. And even if something is good, we're just going to turn the narrative into making it bad. But I do have to say this, because this is like trashing the talent. There is actually some truth to the look part of it. I've been saying this for the longest time. There's larger than life and there's average AF. But I think it's worth mentioning because this is probably going to get some headlines, what Bischoff said about AEW's talent. Now, one of the headlines might be that he called AEW lame, said the name is lame, said it doesn't roll off his tongue. And he said that might just be because the whole product is lame. So he's under the belief that all of AEW is lame and he just can't watch it top to bottom. That's fine. Again, whether that's shtick or not, that's the eye of the beholder. That's his words. But he says this about the AEW roster. And I quote, 75% of that roster looks like they should be changing tires. This dude called 75% of All Elite Wrestling's talent roster, he called them basically gas station employees. You know, you pull up to the gas station, maybe you need a quick little tire change in their little garage area, get some gas, quick oil change, maybe switch up a tire or two. You know, maintenance, mechanic Mike comes out and he gives you a little estimate and you have him flip the tires. Eric Bischoff says 75% of the roster looks like they should be changing tires. Now, as harsh as that is, and trust me, I don't know, that's not necessarily, I don't know, man. That's really digging in deep to a locker room that busts their ass. And unfortunately, a lot of them can't get TV time that are trying to get it, right? What was that announcer's name? Kevin Kelly, I think his name was. I think it was Kevin Kelly. He's currently suing AEW. He has a big dispute with them. But he says he would always cross by Tony's office, and so many people were in a long line trying to talk to Tony. They had all these creative ideas, but Tony just wouldn't use them. It's funny because for years, that's what we always said about Vince, right? But all these people, they do have these creative ideas. They can't get used and they can't be utilized. But on one hand, that is digging deep. On the other hand, there is some truth to it. Now, hear me out. When everybody looks the same, right? And I don't mean like literally by face, but just they come out, the music hits, it's generic. They come through the curtain, it's like another wrestler has just come through. There's nothing special. Maybe they do a lot of cool moves, so you're like, yeah, ooh, ah, and then when the match is over, you're like, yeah, all right, next. When you have too many people like that, where's the special aspect? WWE is at fault for this too, by the way. Everybody just comes off the assembly line down in NXT, down in Florida. It's like a carbon copy of one another. You're all about what? 5'7", $170 soaking wet. You can all do these awesome flips that you've been doing in your backyard on the trampoline for 12 years. But what is special about you? Right? What is going to take you from the ringmaster to Stone Cold? What is taking you from Isaac Yankem DDS to Kane? What is taking you from Husky Harris to Bray Wyatt? What is taking you from Oz to Diesel? These are honest questions that you if you're just doing the moves on the trampoline, I don't know how far you think you're going to go in the business. I understand there's a niche of audience that loves to see all of these like wild spots and the flips and the dives and the gymnastics, and then they can't wait to see what Meltzy gave them in a star rating form. How did you only give it 4.5 stars, man? Right? Like, that's important to a niche audience. But to many of us, what we fell in love with wrestling is, dude, we're trying to get larger than life characters and storylines we can really get captivated by. We need to whip out the wallet and buy the pay-per-view or the PLE because we have to see the culmination of the story in the feud in its totality. That was the fun back in the day. Ain't nobody trying to see Hogan and Warrior at WrestleMania 6 for a fucking classic 30-minute 7-star match. Nobody was trying to see Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels at 14 so that they could see bangers and clangers. So the rosters these days, they're just scooping up all these people that do the same stuff. Unit. Not even one word. When Bischoff says 75% of that roster looks like they should be changing tires. Too harsh? So much truth. Light it up, chat. You tell me. Too harsh? Even if it's true, don't say that about the town. 75%? Looks like they should be changing tires? You call them gas station employees. Too harsh? Too much truth. DeMonte, both. Truth. Harsh. Sir Charles, not too harsh. I'm seeing a lot of both, actually. I'm seeing a lot of both. It's definitely harsh, but it's definitely true. So much truth, Dave. It's true, says JJ. Straight truth bombs, Eric Leno and JR9. Speaking facts, Eminem. God Swilla says both. Dynamite guy says truth. Too harsh, Mimi. Dwayne says both. Dante says truth. Steve-O says it's true. The same could be said with some of the WWE roster. Yeah, BC even said that. He's not lying. It's true, says JJ. Fact, says Eddie. Ballard says 100% truth. But the juice isn't allowed like in his time. Yeah, that's what made larger than, that's what literally made larger than. But even just personality back in the day, like Jake Roberts was never a big roid guy. Jake Roberts just wasn't. But Jake Roberts didn't need to be. Jake Roberts was larger than life because he could talk into a microphone for 1 minute and you were captivated. You stopped what you were doing. Roddy Piper actually was never a big juice guy. Roddy Piper just never was. Not saying they didn't do it at times. But him, Ted DiBiase, they weren't big on that. Big Boss Man wasn't. There were so many that were not. But they were larger than life. Everything they did captivated you. The booking was so flawless that their storylines, man, were next level. Humble says it pretty damn good. So Humble 85, sometimes the truth hurts. Again, I usually don't go into like, the Bischoff stuff because his shtick is just to bring down. And that's, you gotta be, you gotta call it down the middle, man. So it did become a shtick. But man, when I heard that, 75% of that roster, now he's going, he used to just go really hard into the Tony Khans. But now when you're trashing the locker room, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a constructive way to go about it, right? There's criticizing like a douche, and then there's a constructive way to do it. Then there's times you're having fun, obviously, right? There's times it might seem a little, but you're having some fun. But one thing is for sure, I think I like the answer. It's both. It's definitely harsh, but there is truth. It's one of the biggest problems in pro wrestling. Too many people are coming out of that curtain when their music hits. The music sucks. It's not even captivating. It's not memorable. You don't even know who it is because the music is so nondescript. So that's the first. And then the wrestler comes out through the curtain, comes down the aisle, and it's nothing special. There's nothing special. You're not going home and going, let's just take it to WWE. You're not going home and you're not going, well, man, did you see Tyler Bate tonight? Did you see Apollo Crews? Did you see Cedric Alexander? Did you see P.D. Dunne? Did you see Tozawa? Did you see Drew Gulak? Nobody's doing that, man. Like, what is making them stand out? What is special? Right? Nobody's going home and going, man, Dan Garcia, when he came out, he went like this. He did the dance. Did you see Dan Garcia? What about Penta? After the whole 3-hour show, 2 hours live on the TV show, an hour for dark matches, did you see Penta tonight? Much respect to these dudes, but nobody's going, whoa, that is what I remember. So both. I like the term both, man. I like that. Both. Harsh, but he meant truth. Let's move on. Let's talk about, this one. Eric Young. Eric Young says that Triple H, Paul Levesque McMahon, is a genius. A genius. This is how far we're going with genius. He's a genius. So, this is the thing, right? Guy just took over the main roster a year and a half ago, whatever it was. Okay. Ratings, by the way, Smackdown just pulled a 1.9, lowest in the last 2.5 years. Lowest rating on Fox for Smackdown, 1.9. NBA Finals, you could say, absolutely. You could also say it was a go-home show to a PLE, so that should have bumped it, but 1.9. Raw, even with the debut of the new Wyatt 6, Wyatt 5, Howdy faction, going also against NBA competition, 1.7 semod. So last week was a 1.6 for Raw, 1.7 post PLE, and with the huge debut and the return of Seth Rollins, but they were only able to capture 1.7.5. But let's assume this dude's a genius, okay? Even if you love Triple H, right? Maybe you're one of the people that literally coddle everything that Paul Levesque McMahon does. That's fine. Right? BC was a huge HHH fan back in the day, by the way. Man, when I couldn't just sip water normally, I'd be doing the spritzing with it, right? People think, what the heck's up with that dude? I was spritzing water. Or beers, but I was spritzing. But to act like in NXT, he didn't have Dusty Rhodes already handing him NXT. To act like it wasn't on Vince McMahon's dime, and they never drew a dime, by the way. To this day, they haven't really, even with the CW deal, they haven't really drawn a dime. But all of that aside, and the smart minds like the William Regals and all that, if you're assuming or you're saying that he's a genius because of what he did with Black and Gold, I would just presume you just don't know the facts, right? You can say he's good. You could say he's got some good ideas. You could say you really, really like him or you really love him. But genius is a title that even Vincent Kennedy to this day doesn't get a lot from a lot of people. A lot of fans still don't call him a genius. And what he did in the 80s, maneuvering and business-wise and booking-wise, if there was ever a genius, Vince McMahon in the 80s was the guy. Of course, he lost touch in the 90s. Luckily, he had great influence in the late 90s, and then he lost it all after 2002, 2003. So if Vince was a genius, he definitely lost it. But at one time, in those 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of genius things going on with Vincent Kennedy. But there's still fans that don't call him a genius. Paul Heyman would be the closest that we would go, damn, this dude gets it in all aspects. There's a lot of fans that don't even call him a genius, though. But Paul Levesque McMahon is a genius. So I look at the booking. And because I'm trying to find the last year alone, right? He's been in this creative thing a full year up front. I'm trying to look at the booking to see genius. Where's the genius? The Bloodline. The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa's Bloodline, having nonstop brawls with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. That's not genius. That's redundant brawls. So I go over to Chad Gable in the Alpha Academy because that's a good storyline. Chad Gable recently just said, the whole idea of me even turning heel, that was actually my idea. That's a real thing. You guys can look it up. He just said that in a recent interview. Chad Gable said it was his idea to turn heel. The whole spark for all of that's Chad Gable. Give me another good storyline in WWE. Judgment Day's Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Who knows the input that HHH had? I care. I told you I'm going to give credit where it's due until I find out that it was Liv and Dominic's sole idea or Bruce Pritchard or somebody was really behind it. I'm going to give Paul Levesque McMahon the credit. Not so much for the Chad Gable storyline. The Bloodline storyline sucks right now. The Bloodline, it's even Kevin Owens called it bootleg. I've been calling it I call it store-branded Bloodline. What's another really good storyline? Because I'm seeing people like Bob Lashley and the Street Profits get together just to be worse. Worse! Bob Lashley and the Street Profits got together. Oh man, this is going to be big. This is going to be like her business, but with Paul Levesque McMahon, it's going to be so good, everybody said. I wasn't putting those chips on the table, but I was thinking this is at least going to be better than what Bobby's been given. It's at least going to be better than what the Street Profits have been given. They got worse when Paul Levesque McMahon put them together. LWO, LDF, could they be any more sleep-inducing? When the LWO and the LDF come out to face each other all the time, every week, I literally want to take a 16-hour nap. And that's something, because I don't even take naps. So where is it? Is it Apollo's booking? Is it the women's division? Jade and Bianca, let's throw them together, win tag titles at Mania. 2 months later in Scotland, let's have them lose it to the team that we have put at catering the entire time. But because it's Scotland, we'll take the belts off of them. The casual fans and everybody won't even know who these two are. Yeah! That's it. We'll raise up Xia Li for a couple of weeks, and then we'll have her lose 3 in a row, and then we'll fire her or release Xia Li. That doesn't make a lot of sense. The Piper Niven, Scotland, we'll just pluck her because it's Scotland as well. We don't really have a plan for Bayley. But at least we gave her the title at Mania. Who's the champion over on Raw? Rhea Ripley got injured, so then it went over to Morgan, and she's got more of a storyline with Dominic than anything to do with the ladies. What? Genius! We all want the dude to succeed or move out. Right? I want all McMahons just away from the booking, right? When you have the booking notepad, I want all McMahons away. And guess what? Paul Levesque, we call him Paul Levesque McMahon for a reason. He's a McMahon. He's talking to Vinnie Mac many times a week, trust me. He's right there at all the family dinners. He was there at the Father's Day dinner. Trust me, he's a McMahon. I just want them away from creative. There's a reason, right? Even Joe Hendry, when he came out on Tuesday night, did you hear what he had to say? All of the WWE universe. They still are calling this a WWE universe. Trust me, Vinnie Mac is filling in Paul Levesque McMahon on a few. I doubt Paul Levesque McMahon is keeping that word around, by the way. I think it would be best if all McMahons just moved away from the creative book. Just move away. You could keep Paul Levesque McMahon on board if you want, right? A creative consultant, push the guys that he wants to push because he's going to anyway, but he should not be the be-all, end-all. Because when Paul Levesque McMahon does 2 or 3 things correct, there's 97 things done wrong. Do you want to give him credit for the Bray Wyatt thing, by the way? The Wyatt 5? Because guess who Micah Bray's sister and Bo, Taylor's sister, Micah Rotunda, she put out a post thanking the visual, the dudes that make the mask. What was his name? Baker? Somebody tell me in the chat, please. Bray Wyatt's personal mask and great friend. I don't want to botch his name, but him and his team put together the whole scene. The visuals, the look, all of that, man, was the team of Bray Wyatt. How wild is that? Oh, no doubt, Sarah. Yeah. The creation of it was definitely Bray. And that's why Bo wanted to take, Uncle Howdy wanted to take Bray's, ideas and kind of bring them forward. So the idea is definitely Bray's, but I'm just talking about what we saw, right? The visuals and everything, right? Like how they did it. Like it was a Halloween Horror Nights down in Orlando, the haunted houses, and every turn is a different part of the haunted house. Like how they did it. Well, they just said that was, Jason Baker. Thank you guys. So it was his team. That's what Micah Rotunda said. You could read the post. But trust me, Paul Levesque McMahon has to sign off on things, and unfortunately doesn't sign off on a lot of other things. I'll give credit where it's due, no question. But have we really gotten to the point where we're calling Paul Levesque McMahon a genius? This is awesome. Every arena, they just want to show up. They made their hard-earned money, and they just want to chant. From the very beginning, you start to hear "This is awesome" chants. Show up to arenas. They don't even care if it's awesome or it could be horrible, and they just want to chant, "This is awesome." They want to be a part of that, right? So they just want to chant, "This is awesome," right? And they want to do all the chants. Seth Rollins has been gone for 2 months. 2 months. He got a massive welcome back chant. He got a 9-minute ovation as if he was Hulk Hogan, who's been gone for years. Remember that ovation? Seth Rollins got that because he was gone for 2 months. We're in an era now where we just want to chant loudly just to be a part of it all. Doesn't even matter what we're saying. You deserve it. Everybody deserves it. Do you guys understand, no matter who wins the title, the next day when they're on Raw or SmackDown, they're going to be on the microphone, and we're going to have to pause for 2 minutes so the crowd can chant, "You deserve it." It doesn't even matter if you've been on the main roster or a professional for a full week. As long as you even train, you bust your ass training to be a wrestler, fans are going to say you deserve it. Chants no longer hold any weight, and now it looks like calling people genius. Eric Young of, I believe, TNA Wrestling, correct? Eric Young calls Paul Levesque McMahon a genius. A genius. Vince Russo tells a story. Vince Russo said DX was always coming up to him, right? Even Rick Rude, who doesn't say much, would tell him things. Shawn Michaels always in his ear. One person never had any ideas, Vince Russo said. Paul Levesque McMahon, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, never had ideas. That was from Vince Russo. He said he never had any ideas. Vince Russo, for those of you that don't know, he was the head creative back then. The only person above him filtering through was Vincent Kennedy. But genius. Wow, you learn something every day. Paul Levesque McMahon is now a genius. SmackDown just pulled its lowest rating in 3 years. Monday Night Raw with no football competition is hovering around 1.6s and 1.7s on their best weeks. There's maybe 2 to 3 good storylines right now. The Alpha Academy, which I don't even know where that goes now. Otis already broke up with Chad, and Chad got murdered off. So, who knows? And then you have Dominic and Liv Morgan. The Bloodline storyline is horrendous. I literally flip the channel now, and then I just have to go back and do some notes on what happened. I don't want to see Kevin Owens and Randy Orton battle the store-branded Bloodline every week. That doesn't do anything for me. It does nothing for me watching them brawl every show. So, and that's it. That's it. There's no other captivating story. We're hoping that this new Wyatt 5 thing really takes off. But a lot of us in the community, and I'm the biggest Bray supporter you're going to get, or one of, and I'll tell you, man, it's going to take a lot for this to sustain itself. I hope it does. But to go off and say that, this dude's a genius when there's so many wrestlers that can't get TV time still. There's so many wrestlers being booked like idiots or being 50-50 booked, if not 20-80 booked in the loss category. Heel versus heel matches to the utmost. Face versus face matches, confusing your own audience. Genius, guys. Paul Levesque McMahon he's not just good, he's not even just great at creative, which I'm failing to see that. He is now a genius, according to Eric Young. A genius. Can't go any better than. This is the best WWE you're ever going to get. You don't need to replace him. He's a genius. Ask Karrion Kross. Ask the Prophets. Ask Lashley. Ask Chugga Chugga Choo Choo Braun Strowman. Ask Michin. Ask Zelina Vega. Ask Asuka. Ask Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, LA Knight. Go on and on. Gargano and Ciampa, yeah. Who was that? Crazy Country, yeah. Genius. I legit had to laugh at that, but then I was like, wait, that's actually that is Eric Young said, okay. I really real quick too. I just want to go over Goldberg. Goldberg has had enough, and he said he's telling Bret Hart to just get over it. For those of you that don't know, the tail end of Bret Hart's career was stifled by an absolute negligent botch kick by Goldberg. Went for the super kick. He already had those really hard boots on, which many people said you shouldn't be wrestling with them, and he already had hurt people before that. So Bret literally had to tell Goldberg before the match, just whatever you do, don't hurt him out there. Bret told... It's sad when somebody like Bret Hart, the utmost consummate professional, had to tell Goldberg not to hurt him. And Goldberg, right before he delivered the kick, said, watch the kick. So he tried to warn him. That was Goldberg saying, I don't know how to really perform this. Just watch out for it. And if you don't think that's the translation... If you didn't watch one of the recent Who Killed WCW series from the Dwayne The Rock Johnson Productions, $7, and Vice, there was a telling part where he had this Goldberg had a massive botch with Scott Hall. Razor Ramon, he's Scott Hall at that point because it was WCW. Scott Hall is an utmost professional, obviously. When he's not, doesn't have a couple tree in him. But Scott Hall was in the ring, and Goldberg had this massive botch, and they almost slammed heads and almost concussed Scott Hall. Scott Hall literally said, the fuck are you doing? What are you doing, dude? In the middle of a match, they stopped, and Scott Hall's like, what are you doing? And Goldberg, during the interview for this documentary, you guys got to check it out. It's called Who Killed WCW. I think it was episode 2. And Scott Hall asks him, what are you doing? And Goldberg honestly says, dude, it's live television. We stopped the match. He tells me, what am I doing? And my response was, dude, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. He said, I just froze, and I was like, what am I even doing in here? That was Goldberg. They threw this guy in there with people like Scott Hall and Bret Hart when he wasn't just green. He was artificial grass. That's not just being green, right? That's not showing up to Lambeau Field and going, whoa, the field is so green. It's artificial. This dude was all look, no go. And this is coming from somebody who, by the way, man, when Goldberg came out, goosebumps, right? He had that it factor in terms of personality, charisma, believability. I loved all of that for Goldberg. He will always be a huge part of us growing up and a huge part of pro wrestling. I've always said that. But at that time, that was straight negligence to throw him out. He even admits that. And what he did to Bret Hart could have really hurt Scott Hall, but what he did to Bret Hart, that kick was so negligent. He never pump braked it. If you go back to the kick, he just followed through like he's hitting a three-pointer from the arc. What are you following through, bro? It's scripted. It's predetermined. You don't actually kick the dude upside the dome piece. But for years, he's apologized. Bret's been pissed off, right? So finally, Goldberg's like, dude, get over it. I'm not going to apologize forever. I totally get that by Goldberg, by the way. Bret Hart's whole thing, I believe anyway, from hearing enough Bret Hart interviews, I think Bret's whole thing was just how Goldberg is so nonchalant afterwards, right? Oh, I already said sorry, that's it. What else can I do? And then he plays the tough guy role after that. So I think that's what always kind of perturbed Bret Hart. Like, do you really know, like, how bad you were and how you affected so many careers? And I think Bret and so many other wrestlers, I think that's what they believe Goldberg never truly understood even to this day. I think that's what pisses them off more than just a botch or a simplistic accident/mistake. Because accidents happen, mistakes happen. As long as you don't keep doing the same mistake or the same accident, that's when it's a problem. But even no matter the severity, an accident is an accident. A mistake is a mistake. Whether they want to forgive you or not doesn't matter. You have to move on, and they're going to have to, whether they like it or not. But I think their problem was he never really saw too much of an issue. It was just Goldberg being Goldberg, and I think that's what pissed off a lot of people like Bret Hart. But now he's like, I think it was in the third installment of Who Killed WCW. Haven't even seen it yet, by the way, the third episode. I just don't have the time as of late, but I will try to make time for it. But yeah, he says just get over it. And it's like, man, if you truly just want to squash it, just don't talk about it. Right? Just don't even talk about it. Don't give it attention. But to say get over it, if you think Bret is now just going to go, oh, okay. Sorry, my playback was a little off. But, yeah, so I just wanted to touch up on the Goldberg thing, man. That whole Bret Hart thing. I guess the reason I wanted to discuss it is because, man, it's one of those things like, what is the right and wrong? We know the wrong is he should have never been in the ring, but he was getting so many ratings. The fans were eating it up. He was larger than life because it was truly who he was, right? I mean, the dude went in there and he was 180 the whole time, and he just injured people, and a lot of the wrestlers felt he just didn't care. He was just, I'm Goldberg and you're being squashed, literally and figuratively. So Eric Bischoff couldn't take him off TV. He was skyrocketing too fast. He was bringing in a lot of money and ratings. Unfortunately, a lot of people were getting fucked up in the process. There's a good story, actually, with William Regal, I think it was. William Regal had to check him. You know what I mean? He tried to get a little pushy with William Regal. William Regal, in like IRL, he doesn't look like it. William Regal is badass. He'll check you pretty good. Just he'll smarten you up to the biz, and he'll make you relax for a second, smarten up, think about it. Now let's go again. But man, it's just one of those scenarios where it just sucks because I remember I was watching live when it happened, and Bret Hart, his time in WCW already sucked. He wasn't happy. It was just like his booking was off. And then all of a sudden he gets kicked upside his dome piece, and you knew it was not good. You knew it at the moment. You knew afterwards. I think he wrestled for another couple months. He really tried to keep going, but that kick screwed him up so much. He ended up having like seizures later on and a few years later, and it was, yeah, he just never came back. That kick actually did one of the best wrestlers of all time. And it's just a shitty situation, and it sucks that they're still talking about it because it's exactly how you would have thought it would go. Brett to this day is not happy with it. Goldberg remains, said sorry, that's all you're going to get, move on. And, you know, to see that was one of the headlines coming out of Who Killed WCW Episode 3, I felt live is the time to talk about it. Yeah. That's it, I think, right? Let's go over the super chats, man. Go with some super chats. Yeah, Jasmine, it means he ain't sincere. Yeah, Goldberg just has that mentality, right? Where it's just like, I'm Goldberg and you're not, you know? And for pro wrestling, that can be really good, right? You get captivated by that, larger than life. For pro wrestling, that's awesome. IRL, that's not so good for those around him, right? They're probably just going to look at the dude like a prick. Yeah. Make sure there wasn't channel memberships as I was going there. Hold on. I think I got the channel memberships, hopefully, because I don't get that list until after we're live. So, channel members, much love and respect. I think I got the new members, though, headed toward 200 on the ups. Future unit, make sure you're smashing that, too. I appreciate that. It will also help out the algorithm. I think I covered everything. Let's go over to super chats. What are we up to? Over an hour already? I'm just enjoying a bevy. Am I clearly Canadian? Shooting the shit with my unit? Time flies when you're having fun, man. Damn. Can't believe it's over an hour. JR9, 2-spot, super chat. NXT Roundup will follow this. It's 85% negatives. So, correct me if I'm wrong, JR9, in the comments down below when this goes non-live, correct? When this goes up on the channel after we're live, check out JR9's NXT report. And that's going to be interesting because I was not able to catch the entire show, JR9. So much respect on that. And yeah, appreciate that. I was not able to catch most of NXT, actually. I was able to check out Joe Hendry, though. JR9, looking forward to it, man. Dave Mealy, 5-spot super chat. 5-spot coffee from Dave. Always good seeing Dave up in here, man. Dave says, talk about getting double amplified. I got BC on one speaker and Vince Russo in another. Amplification overload. Bro, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Amp up those speakers, bro. That's a little homage to Vince Russo for those of you that don't know. Hot take. I know it's not a popular opinion maybe, but there's something about I'm not saying that Vince, sometimes you want to throw Vince into a brick wall, but there's something about Vince Russo. I also just, not only do I admire, but I absolutely thank him for the Attitude Era. If Vince Russo didn't do all the things he did, we wouldn't have never had the best era in pro wrestling. Dave, that is indeed double amplification, bro. Joker 716, 2-spot super chat. 2-spot clearly Canadian. Good to be here with you live, BC. Salute amp unit. Joker 716, glad to have you live with BC in the unit. Joker 716, appreciate you, dude. Always good seeing you up in here. Clutch City fan dropping a 10-spot with a thank you super sticker emoji. Couple of coffees from Clutch City fan. And for those that don't know, Clutch City fan has been with the unit for a long time. What's your channel membership, Clutch City? I don't know if you're still up in the chat. I think you've probably been a member for 18 full months, too. Clutch City fan, appreciate it. Dave with another 5-spot super chat coffee. 5 spots says, Dave, even Bret Hart said that Triple H wouldn't know a new idea if it bit him in the ass. Dave, that's right. I gotta read that again. Even Bret Hart said Triple H wouldn't know a new idea if it bit him in the butt. So this goes with the Vince Russo when he said that Hunter Hearst Helmsley never came to him with a new idea or with an idea creatively. That's what Vince Russo said. Same era, Bret Hart. Bret Hart is like new idea, Paul Levesque, McMahon. It doesn't go hand in hand. So again, I'm not going to bash the dude. I hope the best. There's a couple of good storylines going on right now. We're starting to find out it's not all Paul. Shocker. Chad Gable said it was his idea to turn. We just found out from Bray Wyatt's sister that the whole setup and everything, that was all from Bray Wyatt and his team. So even what we saw Monday night wasn't Paul Levesque. So when we call him, Eric Young's calling him a genius, nobody's seeing genius, though. Like the actual talent is telling you that's not the case. And the product is not telling us that he's a genius. Dave, that's a good quote, man, from Bret Hart on Paul Levesque. Realist in the room, how you doing? 2 spots, Super Chat Coffee. Certain people gotta let go of black and gold. Yeah, that's the catalyst, realist in the room. That is the catalyst, obviously. Right? That's why people will always coddle Paul Levesque McMahon instead of just hold him accountable, right? Or say it's okay to say, ew, that's not a good idea. Or that shouldn't have happened. Or, ooh, you suck the air out of the room. Not in a good way. In a way where, like, they don't even want to watch for a while now. They're just, like, so, like, done with it. There's so many circumstances where you have to say that, right? But a lot of people just coddle the dude. And I think a lot of it, a catalyst, is because of black and gold, which, again, if they only knew what Dusty Rhodes and the Steven Regals and so many others, if they only knew what they did for NXT, they handed him the NXT that Paul Levesque McMahon inherited on Vince McMahon's dime. Promo classes, characters were given by Dusty Rhodes, guys. Dusty Rhodes. And then Levesque McMahon would fly over in the jet, and he put some tweaks here and there, maybe with Dusty, with the character. I just wish people gave more credit to the Dusties, the Regals, and such. But Paul Levesque McMahon will always get it all. And he can do no wrong. And he can do everything right. And now, according to Eric Young, he's a genius. All right, dude. I'm hoping to see genius creativity on every Monday and every Friday and every PLE. Because to me, genius on Saturday afternoon in Scotland wasn't holding up steel steps and AJ saying, I quit without even the microphone. No microphone, holding up steel steps, and that's it. All the trash that was talked, I quit. Alba and Isla being in catering leading up to the event, and then all of a sudden dethroning Jade and Bianca isn't genius to BC. Genius isn't CM Punk screwing Drew. Drew screwed again, the air being sucked out of the room, and good night, everybody, to end the PLE. Not genius! Not seeing the genius in it all. But I guess it's there. We're going to be looking for it now. This new genius. Realist in the room. Couldn't agree more. True. Green and blue. 2 spots. Super Chat Coffee. ABC. Is Roman coming back tomorrow? Not that I'm hearing. Not tomorrow. There was word that he was imminent. Many reports said that not a while back. But now it looks like CM Punk is going to be the headliner. He's supposedly, or at least going to tease that he is completely cleared, and Drew McIntyre is supposed to attack. So Drew McIntyre is also supposed to show up on Smackdown tomorrow night. That's the reported plan. Of course, Drew retired on Monday, but some people literally thought he retired, by the way. That was kind of funny. A lot of people actually thought like Drew is gone from WWE, and because they heard that he was in contract negotiations, so they think he's all elite. He already re-signed with the WWE. So it's like Chad Gable, right? Everyone's like, oh no, he was doing contract negotiations and they killed him off on Monday. No, he already re-signed, guys. Chad Gable is officially re-signed with the WWE. So Drew is not only... what we thought was he's just taking some time off, right? But now the latest report is saying, no, he's going to show up with Punk on SmackDown tomorrow. So we'll see which part of that is true. Right? We'll see, man. It'll be interesting, man. Drew McIntyre, he played everybody, man. He even deactivated accounts, you name it. He really played into it. But he's got a true green and blue podcast. He's coming back, and he's going to be much needed. And that's another thing, right? We talk about Cody and Rock, Cody and Cena. If Cody is able to get that Cena match that he wants, that he told Cena he wants to, by the way, where do you fit in Roman and Cody? Can you even have that match? I don't think so. Because when Roman comes back, he has to be a monster face. There's no way he can come back, just take his title that he lost to Cody. Otherwise, that was all for nothing. And there's no way that Cody can just beat Roman again now, being a monster face. So I don't even know how you get back to Roman and Cody, if you even do. Might have to just start setting up Rock and Roman. Because Roman and Solo can only be so exciting. That doesn't even excite me right now. Roman versus Tonga Loa. And Bungalua and Loa Leia and all of them. I can't see that I'm intrigued by that. So it's up to the genius. It's up to the genius of Levesque McMahon to make us really get behind those matchups. DB for life, 2 spots, super chat. Coffee, DB for life. What's up, dude? Smackdown pulled a 1-9. Yeah, H is a genius. Shake my head. That's what Eric Young is saying, man. You're hearing more and more talents go, I want to go to WWE because Paul Levesque McMahon's in charge. Well, how is it? Are you seeing the way so many are being utilized or not utilized? Are you not seeing the same favorites being picked? It's a little better in some aspects, thankfully. But it's the same, and in some areas, even worse. And unfortunately, the ratings, it doesn't even matter what we think, right? The facts is all we can go by. The ratings are at their lowest of all time. 1-9 for SmackDown is the worst that Fox has had in years. Monday Night Raw, after their PLE, and with this the return of Seth and this new faction, and all they could pull is a 1-7, Semod. Don't give me NBA Finals. The Celtics were freaking owning the match. The only reason they lost one is because they wanted to celebrate in Boston. RD, 2 spots. Super chat, coffee. BC, who do you think are the top 5 feuds for the Wyatt 5? I don't know about 5, but I really did think Jey Uso was the best first person. But Jey Uso cut a funny promo after Raw was live. It went off the air. Like Kathy Kelly, one of those like backstage interviews. Jackie Redmond, you know how they do those interviews for WWE.com. And Jey Uso was like, I don't want any of that. I don't want he can have the Fireflies back. I'm just happy I reactivated them. Jey Uso was like, no thanks. But it was set up perfect. Jey Uso ended the night defeating Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio to qualify for the bank money in. And he was there celebrating, doing the goofy dance, yeeting around, right? And you get a yeet, y'all get a yeet. And I'm like, okay, this is perfect. And then he went to the stands, and I'm like, ooh, that's risky. You can't have him get attacked in the fans because it's going to muddy the waters, right? I'm hoping they have something way better than just the Wyatt 5 show up and take out Jey Uso in the stands. And then it became clear Jey Uso has nothing to do with him. I really thought that Jey would have been the best aspect. Now, yes, you saw Braun Strowman laid out in the back. That's also a pretty damn good viable option. Obviously, the history with Braun and Bray, you could make a thing where maybe Braun turned his back on Bray, make that a part of the story. You could easily put Braun into something that's meaningful while putting over this entire faction. So Braun is somebody that works as well. Chad Gable is not. I know you saw him laid out, but it doesn't make sense. Right now, this Wyatt 5, possibly 6 faction can become a really huge face faction, or it could easily become a really diabolical heel faction. Putting Chad Gable, who is a full throttle heel right now, is not the move. So the Chad Gable thing, I'm against that. Jey Uso, Braun Strowman, Unfortunately, down the line, when Ricochet gets back, because we do believe he's going to stick with WWE, he's definitely coming back to finish things with Braun Breaker. Unfortunately, Ricochet is a good option to lay down, look up at the lights again. Sorry, not sorry. I'm down with repackaging Ricochet, but if you're not going to, you could at least have Ricochet in something meaningful. Sometimes there's victory and defeat. Yeah, I said this about LA Knight, man. Everybody's like, LA Knight's just going to get squashed Bray. There's no way he's going to beat Bray in a dark Mountain Dew match. I told you guys, relax. This is LA Knight and Bray. The storyline is going to be awesome. And just sit back and watch the match. I bet you when it's all said and done, LA Knight is only going to skyrocket after that. And JR9, James Shrimp Fajitas, JJ, Justine, everybody in this chat right now will tell you what happened. He lost. Bray got the best of him in the feud, and he lost the match. And immediately after, what did you start hearing in every arena? LA Knight chants. WrestleMania, he was one of the loudest chants. For some reason, Paul Levesque McMahon kept him off of WrestleMania. Along with a lot of other big shows that year, by the way. Madison Square Garden, a massive Smackdown. SummerSlam, he got absolute toiletries. We're not even going to go into that. But LA Knight, man, he was just put in there to put over Bray and Uncle Howdy and what they were doing. So, yeah, that faction should absolutely be destroying people in their path. But if done correctly, which this group obviously can do, it's just about booking, letting them, everybody's going to be skyrocketed with them, man. Everybody wins in these type of feuds. Even a Ricochet. Anyway, that was a long-winded answer, so I can't give you a 5 up front, but there's just several names that I'll give you, RD, along with 1 or 2 that just wouldn't work. But don't forget, it's harder because you have to stick to Raw. You know, if I could open up a little bit to, like, SmackDown, I would reinsert LA Knight in the future, and maybe LA Knight isn't necessarily looking up at the lights, but that's a lot of fun to revisit that in the future, but that's SmackDown. RD, appreciate the super chat and question, man. Let me go over to, who's next in that super chat? Who is that? Ray Hunt. Ray Hunt with a 5-spot super chat coffee. A genius can't even get Raw without football competition to a 2.0 and above. As the kids say these days, the math ain't mathin'. Ray Hunt. A genius can pull a 1-9 for SmackDown. A genius can pull that 1-6 on Raw, man. You don't need anybody else creatively, Ray Hunt. Paul Levesque McMahon is a genius now. That's what the wrestlers are. That's what Eric Young is saying, man. A genius, man. Paul Heyman, take a seat, bro. Jimothy Cornette, take a seat. A genius. Colin, 2-spot super chat, throwback. Kane and Shane feud, 2003. Let's go. There's one, bro. And you know what's funny about that, Colin, is I was about to say that as well, but I already spit out like 3 feuds with Shane, and then I think I added in Kevin Owens instead of Kane. But you can absolutely go to throwback. Was it 2003? I would have had the date mixed up for sure. 2003, Kane and Shane. So just another feud and another match where Shane McMahon stepped up, represented, whooped that ass, and today, for some reason, just gets trashed left and right. If he wants to have his last match in AEW, I say have at it, dude. If you're a diehard AEW fan and you love just that niche, gymnastic type, non-stop, fast-paced, flippy-dive action, just have one match and let Shane go out. Because maybe he does not want to do this in WWE, man. He's got no equity in the game. He sent some feelers out. He's talked to some people in AEW. If this actually happens, I hope everybody's happy for Shane. I hope you got 15 to 20 minutes to let the dude rock out one more time. 2 if he wants. Right? And if not, like I said, go outside for 15 minutes and pick up a bad habit. Throw yourself in a brick wall, jump into the traffic. But let Shane have one more match. You know, it's perfectly reasonable to think he does not want to do this in WWE. We know the falling out with his father 80 billion times. And maybe he just doesn't want to just ride the coattails of his sister and brother-in-law. So if he's able to cut a deal, let him cut a deal for one more match. I don't see the big deal on that. And I support Shane McMahon anyway, because the dude doesn't have to do what he does as often as he does it. But he loves it. He loves getting in there. He loves putting on a show. He wants to do it for his kids. He wants them to like get to see him do this. And he's fun, man. He's believable. He's realistic. You think I'll tell you right now, man, I'd rather see Shane McMahon come out of that curtain than Ricochet any day of the week twice on Sunday. Hot take, I don't care. That's the truth. Good call there, Colin. Dave Mealy. Oh, was that a mini banger bomb? Dave Mealy coming out with the 20 spot. This late in the game, an hour and a half into this podcast, hour and a half into this stream, which again, I got to give you guys a salute, man. This was seriously only supposed to be a half an hour. And you guys live have been there. I hope you future unit know how awesome this crew was on this live stream. Like, future unit, I hope you know this crew, man, made this so much fun. We're going over an hour and a half. It helps that BC's already on 9 cups of coffee and his 4th clearly Canadian, but that's another story. Dave, I appreciate you, dude, man. I said you earlier, just seeing you up in the chat is more than enough of that respect. Here's an interesting theory going around with the Wyatt Six. They attacked everybody who turned their backs on someone. The story could be that the Wyatt Six are people that have had people turn their backs on them. Dave, I think that's definitely a part of it. You nailed it there. I think there's so many intricacies in this that, and again, as we said earlier in the chat, I think it was Sarah, a lot of this is still Bray, a lot of this, guys. Don't just think like, oh, Bo is just trying to honor the best he can with some of the ideas. That is happening, yes. But this is also, a lot of this up front is going to be Bray. Bray has already had these talks with Taylor, his brother, Bo. They've already had these talks. Bray has told him like where he kind of wants to go, what his visions are for certain things. So this, what's cool about the initial first 6 months to a year is you guys know you're getting a lot. I get goosebumps talking about it. You're getting a lot of Bray, dude. And a lot of that is those type of things, you know, character-wise, who turn their backs on others, and they can utilize that in their own. Anyway, long story short, yes, absolutely. Yeah, who was that, Jer9? Where was that? Heard the group was planned from last year. There you go. That's what I mean. And exactly, Jared, Bo said that, man. Taylor said that. They have notepads and they have like all this artwork that have like certain ideas. And I mean, they have so much to go on that's what I mean about like, if they do this correctly, this could be top notch. If one spoke falls out though, it could all just kind of get thrown to the wayside. Paul Levesque McMahon has to just stay firm on this and keep it on that pedestal. Don't give up on it. Dave, that's absolutely. And the cool thing is it's even more intricacies on top of that. Appreciate you, bro. A mini banger bomb 20 spot, Dave. Jamal. What's up, Jamal, man? Haven't seen Jamal, I don't believe, in a few live streams, I believe. Jamal, 5 spot super chat coffee and a 2 spot super chat clearly Canadian. So Jamal is chucking a couple bevies at the channel. We got a coffee incoming. We got a clearly Canadian. Jamal says, what up, BC? Do you see Uncle Howdy's group starting a feud with Cody, since Cody used to be Bray's pro back in the day, but then treated him poorly? Jamal, that's the problem with being on Smackdown, though. Because when the earlier question, like RD, who do I think the top 5 feuds for this faction are, it's kind of limited because a lot of good names would be over in SmackDown. And the Cody Rhodes and this, of course that would be so much fun. But Cody is SmackDown, so you can't really, I don't like crossing brands. I think that is totally diminishing the value and prestige. It's devaluing the prestige of a brand split to a point where nobody can care. And when people don't care or they're confused, they'll just walk away. And this company too many times just has people from SmackDown show up on Raw and vice versa, and they don't even give an explanation anymore. No reasoning. So, Jamal, I don't even want to think of that now, but if they ever come to a situation where it makes sense and you can realistically put the two on the same show, absolutely. And like you said, you got the story right there, man, with the whole used to be the pro, kind of, maybe not turned his back, did he? but like you say, treated him poorly. And Jamal also says meant to say NXT. No, I know what you meant. The pros and was that the whole what was that? The Miz? Who did the Miz have? The NXT pro and student thing. What was that? Miz had come on, who was the Miz's, man? Who was Miz's student or whatever they called it, guys? Miz and Daniel Bryan. I remember that was so substantial. Because I'm like, if he only knew, like today, how big Daniel Bryan would become. And then you had, it was Cody and Bray, huh? Cody and Bray. What were some other duos, man? There was another couple of names that I was like, damn, if they only knew. Kelly was Naomi. You guys are great, man. JR9. That's badass. But anyway, Jamal, I knew what you mean. Yeah, the NXT. So, yeah, you have that part of it, but you have to first give me a realistic reason why SmackDown is even convoluted with Raw and vice versa. Because until we get that, I don't even want to hear it. Primo and AJ Lee. Vicky Guerrero and Caitlyn Clutch. Are you serious? I used to love Caitlyn, by the way. That was a good friend of AJ Lee. That's probably where they kicked it off, being in that class. Did I get all my supers, man? I don't care how long it's we're already freaking over a half an hour anyway. 36 minutes over my allotted hour. So at this point, I don't even care. Let me give a shout out to all my super chats again, man, because you guys, you guys make this so much fun. JR9 Gaming, Dave Mealy, Joker716, Clutch City Fan, Realist in the Room, how you doing? True Green and Blue Podcast, DB for Life, RD, Ray Hunt, Colin, and Jamal Straken. Appreciate you guys big time. And before we get out of here, Joker716 said, nah, hold up, BC. Joker716 said, I'm going to chuck another coffee super chat at the channel. And that's what Joker did. What better place to go overtime at with none other than the bona fide, amplified B motherfucking C. Ring that bell. I don't got the bell. Howard Finkel took it. I gotta get the bell back, Joker. I'll take a massive, clearly Canadian swing. How's that, man? We'll get even more amplified. Caffeine, sugar. We'll hit the gym, which is 3 or 4 hours away. We'll be bona fide and amplified for sure. Joker, I appreciate it. Yow! These get you amplified, man. We're gonna have a massive ringing of the bell when I get that back from Howard Finkel, I assure you. The winner of this match. Joker, I appreciate it, man. That's the way to end this stream. Guys, that was a lot of fun. This was a pop-up live stream. What the fuck, man? That was awesome. It was only supposed to be a half an hour. I was going to stretch it to an hour if need be. I was not planning on going an hour and 40. So thank you if you stayed the whole time. I appreciate you. We're only a handful away from 200 on the ups live, by the way. So you guys are handing a spot over to the future unit. We are just a few away from 200 live. I appreciate that. Realist in the room, how you doing? Chucking a coffee over at the channel. Super chat by Realist says, do you believe in Joe Hendry? Oh, man. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the stream, Realist. But for some reason, the theme was on my dome piece, and that's literally how I started the stream. Singing this dude's theme song. Don't lie, man. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I feel, why not? If we started this stream with the theme song, let's end it for Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Anyway, Realist, how can you not, man? Everybody's down with Joe Hendry at this point, man. This dude is getting super over. I doubt very much last time you're going to see him in NXT or even WWE for that matter. You guys remember, wasn't it Joe Hendry who was one of the... What was he? He was like one of the Rosebuds for, what was his name? Who did the Rosebud? Don't be a lemon, be a Rosebud. Adam something, I forgot his name. He was a Rosebud, and he was something else background as well. Adam Rose, thank you. He was actually a Rosebud, Joe Hendry. And he was also something else. Does anybody remember? Rusev! Yes, he was one of the people for Rusev. I don't know where I get this information from. Thank you, yes. Anyway, I don't think you've seen the last of Joe Hendry in WWE because that was a pretty cool performance in NXT. I love the fact that everybody wanted him out immediately because he talks shit to everybody. That's realistic. And the theme song is just too much fun, man. Here we are months later, I'm still singing the damn song. Anyway, Unit, much love and respect. Let's do this again real soon. It's possibly tomorrow, by the way. Possibly. Live stream, morning, afternoonish is the only time I have. So if there is a live stream, we'll go over Smackdown, preview it, all the latest over the last 24 hours of news. All right, that's it. Going to get more coffee. Got the gym in a little bit. Got to take care of a few things. So you guys go whoop Thursday's ass. We'll do this again real soon. Until next time. And there will be that next time. Top guys, we are out. BC in the Unit. Saying check you. Peace. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Yeah.